I think that something I've been thinking about recently is I don't think it's a great idea to walk up on stage with notes that are like, I'm doing these 4 jokes. I think it's healthy to be like, okay, I'm going to do these, but if I have a tag, I'm willing to trail off.
You have to leave a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't just go up and be like, no matter what happens, these are the 4 jokes. You have to leave a little bit of wiggle room. Like maybe the guy that went up before you said something that you could jump off on, or like have a tag with, and that leads into something else.
Yeah. I think you always need to be willing to fucking venture off.
Yeah.
And then you can always go back to the joke.
Yeah.
Because it's there and you know it. But so just try your best. What I do is I do everything I can to not touch the joke until I have to. So I'll start with a riff, and then that riff will sometimes just take me somewhere else. And I'm like, I was doing this the other day, and before I know it, I'm a minute and a half in, and I'm like, okay, now I'll do my jokes. And then you hit the jokes, and
you've already softened them up with that riff, and any kind of riff, no matter what it is, softens up the crowd like nobody's business, because they're like, oh, he just thought of that off the top of his head. This guy's funny, and they're already like open to you.
Yeah.
And then you dive into material, and then you really get them.
Mm-hmm. I think riffing shows confidence and a sense of like presence. Like, oh, he's like here in the room. Mm-hmm. You know, he's not just like a robot up there.
These are my jokes.
Yeah.
Haha, the other day I was at the store like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to be willing to riff and also be willing to... I think you should be willing to change up your jokes mid-fucking joke. Like, if you can kind of tell it's not working, don't just keep fucking going down the hole. Like, switch it, say this first, and then do that or something.
Yeah. I think another thing you have to be comfortable with on stage is going up with like an idea of something and kind of just riffing on it and turning it into a bit, which I was real bad at for a very long time. Like you've seen me go on up like a billion times. All my jokes, I write them down. You know, they're all kind of very rote. And then that 56-year-old tried to sleep with me the other day at work, and all I wrote down on the notepad was just like the 56-year-old MILF story.
Yeah. And
I went up there, and I didn't have any like start or end. I just kind of riffed on it, and it turned into this awesome bit with the huge punchline about the husband, you know.
Yeah.
And it worked perfectly. And that's one of the first kind of bits that kind of bubbled up from nowhere. Like, it happened to me that day. I had no time to prepare for it. I just went on stage and like told the story and kind of puffed it up a bit, and it worked as an on stage bit.
Yeah. And then you could even take it further with like, what is it with fucking old ladies that they wanna that they wanna fucking sleep with young dudes.
Yeah, it could branch off into a million different directions.
Yeah,
but
it's like, where were you when you were 30 or something?
Yeah,
you know.
But I'd never gone like on stage with just like that, something that happened to me that day, just like a couple of words, and then turned it into a bit. I think it's a sign of getting more comfortable, on stage, just turning like an idea into something malleable and funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I forget who said this, but it was a comedian, and I'm sorry for forgetting, but someone said, like, if you were gonna, maybe I think it was Bill Burr actually, if you're gonna go tell your buddies a crazy story that happened to at work, you wouldn't go practice it in your room, and you'd go and you just tell them, and you'd be like, the fucking lady. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be like in your room like, okay, and then I'll go, and then I'll say this fucking lady thing. There's a something that comes out of necessity when you're telling it just in the moment. Just, this happened. This is, isn't that fucking nuts? You know what I mean? I think that was Bill Burr.
And I think it was too. And it was the first time I had told that, because it happened like the day of. Like I went from work, I went home and had enough time to shower and drive with you back to the mic, and then I told that story, and it was like, I think there was something about like the immediacy of it.
100%.
That made it kind of come out funny, but I've never really kind of done that, and I think it's a sign of like, you know, we're kind of getting a little good at this, you know.
Yeah,
we're getting a little good at telling funny stories.
Yeah, getting better for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Getting better. I think a lot of it has to do with the amount of mics we've been doing recently.
Yeah.
I've just been doing a lot of mics. Also, we've been booking shows, and the necessity to do well at a show because there's stakes. There's your your reputation or whatever. But like people are counting on you. Someone fucking paid $10. Someone vouched for you. Yeah, hey, Ryan's funny. Come on, like there's. Like, you don't want to bomb.
Yeah, you don't want to go up there and bomb, and then someone's like, "Hey, what the fuck? I thought you said this guy was funny," and then you let them down.
Yeah. So when you got a show coming up, that something just clicks, where you're like, okay, I need to fucking really lock in right now, and not just be up there fucking around and riffing. Like, sure, riffs are cool, but like, I'm doing 10 minutes next week. Fucking, and it's gotta be good.
Save the riffing for the open mics. Bring the heat
Yeah.
at the shows.